Hello everyone, welcome back to Base Damage. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome back to Community Fridays. This week we have a really fun Bang Dream deck posted by me. I can post in my own Community Fridays, right? But no, I wanted to share this one because this deck I used recently. We had a music theme cup at one of the locals in Virginia. I drove up there to hang out with the awesome people from the Virginia Discord, and just all the awesome people from the Base Damage Discord in general. And I was like, hey, I need to throw together a music deck. What do I have at the house? And I brought back an oldie but a goodie. Back in the day, and this deck profile may still be up on the channel. I honestly don't remember at this point. I really enjoyed the Glitter Green band. In the first set, this is literally Volume 1 Bang Dream, by the way. They had a opposing band, which was Glitter Green, and they only ever got like a single round of cards. They've not gotten any other support ever since the first season of the anime, the first like volume of this. So these cards are old as balls. Just keep that in mind when you're going through this. This is not a good deck. If you came here for a meta deck, this is not the one, buddy. And I have made a couple changes to what I ran, just to have a little bit like of a better like card setup for this, which I'll explain as I go through. But yeah, for the most part, it takes Glitter Green and Afterglow. There was a much better level 1 combo in Afterglow that I preferred greatly over the Glitter Green level 1 combo that was on a gold bag trigger. Oh, it was such a bad, it was on reverse blind stock. Oh god, it was horrible. This is a much better level 1 combo. But the overall like theme still presides in terms of how like the setup should be. I figured to also take advantage of using the alarm combos and stuff like that. Like I could have splashed red in here for like buns for luck. I know I could, but I didn't want to do that. It felt like it was just going to be like kind of cheesy if I did. But I just wanted to run like bring this deck out of retirement and then immediately retire it after this theme cup. So let's jump right into it. The first set of cards here, I did have a change. So the Glitter Green Ri and Yuri, I was running 4 copies of, but I've taken 1 copy of each out for 2 copies of this particular early play Ron. So we'll go over that. That's the only other like major change that I made, but I figured I would just go ahead and get that out of the way. But let's start with the level 3s. Glitter Green Ri Uzawa, 3295. This has a couple really funny effects, but you'll see like once the deck kind of comes together. There's an interesting way of playing this deck, and you'll see in a moment. So first off, it has, when this is placed on stage from hand, draw up to 2 cards and then discard 1 card from hand. There's not a lot of level 3s that use this effect anymore, but it once again, like I said, first iteration of Bang Dream. When a card named Our Stage, which is a gold bar, is placed on your climax area, this gets the following ability until end of turn. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you may put that character into your opponent's clock. So on reverse clock kick, really good back in the day, and not that good now, but still. Now the really funny effect though, up to 1 time per turn when a climax is put on your level area, this gets 2500 power till end of turn. Don't think too hard about that right now. It'll all get explained in a little bit here. Their whole theme for Glitter Green was when cards got put into your level, which if you see this other Hinako down here, that will explain everything in just a moment. So moving on, 2 copies of Don't Stop Keep Going Ran Mitake. I wish I could have had 2 copies of this, but it's whatever. It is a 3295. If your waiting room has 2 or less climaxes, this gets -1 level while in your hand. And while this is when this is placed on stage from hand, if you have 2 or more other characters, you may choose 1 character in your clock and put it into your memory. Heal from clock to memory is not something you see that often, and it's kind of funky. Because not only is it a heal, it's a compression if you do this before a refresh. So. And it has an encore effect of put 1 Afterglow character from your hand into your waiting room. And you do have a good number of Afterglow characters that you can fulfill that if need be. 3 copies of Glitter Green Yuri Ushigome. And I need to double check this. Okay. So this is the eroded version. There was a version of this that you could, for the climax combo, you could pick a copy of herself, but that's not the case. You're only, if I remember correctly, and future me, correct me if this is wrong, you can only select the other 3 members of the band. Before it was like, oh, you could also select a copy of herself, but you can't do that. But no, so 3-2, 10k, on play, heal 1, always good. When a card named Our Stage, the gold bar as well, you're going to get 4 different climax combos with that same gold bar. It's placed on your climax area. You can pay 1, pitch a card. If you do, choose one of your other characters with Nanana, Ri, or Hinako in its card name and this card, this Yuri. Until the end of the turn, these cards get 1500 power and the following ability till end of turn. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you may deal 1 damage to your opponent. So it's really nice to be able to give this to the Ri that is already doing clock shooting and just be able to go. Like if you had 2, like the ideal setup is probably like 2 of the Yuri, 1 of the Ri, so that if you're able to pay for all of it, you can give on reverse burn 1 to the Ri twice, and then she still clock shoots and just does a whole bunch of damage on top of her own. So that is the ideal setup at the end. To the level 2s, 1 copy of I Am Me Karuseta, 2500 backup. It is the anti-change. When you use this card's backup, pitch 2 cards. Choose one of your opponent's characters with a level higher than their level and put it into their waiting room. So, gotta have anti-change as always. 2 copies of, this is not Afterglow, this is Reza Sulin, but this was the best level 2 that I could really find with what I had. To a New Stage Lock is a 2/155. This card gets 2500 power for each character in your opponent's backstage. So if they have 2 characters in their backstage, she's a 10/5. Also, it says when this card is put into your waiting room, you can pay 1 and sack one of your other characters to encore her back. So you can do this if you had other characters that were reversed, you could sack them to encore her back for only 1 stock, which is not bad at all. 2 copies of her. 1 copy of Present for You. Himari Uehara is a 2/145. She is a anti-change reverser, and specifically a clock bomb anti-change reverser. But she also has an alarm effect. If this card is on top of your clock at and the number of music characters you have is 4 or more at the beginning of your climax phase, you may put the top card of your deck into your stock. So this is another way to kind of, like, if you need to pay out your stock, you can do that, blind stock, and you have 1 to go towards the Yuri because her effect goes off when you play the climax. So kind of a neat little extra thing there. The alarm effects kind of come in clutch for several things. 3 copies of, now to the level 1s, Glitter Green Hinako Nijiki is a 1/135. When a card named Our Stage, this is the climax combo for her at level 3 or higher, choose one of your characters until end of turn that gets 1000 power and the following ability. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you may draw a card. Once again, you could stack like all of this onto the Ri and it just doesn't even matter. So you're also like, for the cards that you would pitch for the Yuri's effect, you're drawing at least a card back. Up to 1 time per turn, this is either player's turn by the way, when your card is placed on the level area, choose one of your green characters and that character gets plus 2000 power till end of turn. So if you level during, your turn or use her second effect to put a card into your level, or level during your opponent's attack phase when they're attacking you, you can give a buff on either player's turn, which is really cool. Act. Rest 2 of your green characters. Choose a card on your level area and a card in your waiting room and exchange them. This does cause that and an upcoming effect or 2 to proc. So this is very key. You're basically always trying to pop this every single turn to buff characters like this particular Ri right here. Is a 1/055 together with Debico Ri. First off, can't side attack, only downside. Up to once per turn when your card is placed on the level area, this gets 1500 power until end of turn. So being able to do that, she becomes a 7k by herself. So what does this mean? What does that do? So you use this effect to give someone a buff, and then because you put a character into your level, she also gets a buff for that turn. So she gets really big. So because of that, you can make at least 1 copy of her a 9k, but you're typically going to give that 2k buff to the Sugumi as a 1/045. During your turn, if all of your characters are green, this card gets 2k power. When the battle opponent becomes reversed, if a card named Let's Start a Band is in your climax area, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 music character from amongst them, reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. Choose one of your characters, and that character gets 2,000 power till end of turn. So this does have to reverse, but you can get really big with this. We're going to break it down because the climax is so bad. Let's Start a Band is a double crit trigger. On play, choose up to 2 of your characters. They get 2k and a soul. A split 2k and a soul for this climax combo. I do want to go ahead and say before anyone goes to the comments and says this, there is a level 1 Mortis from the Ave Musica trial deck that does the exact same thing as this on a gold bar. It's so much better. So you can just run 8 gold bar. But yeah, so that is a thing you have to worry about. But this still gets big. So to be fair, because it has to reverse. So with its own effect, it becomes a 6/5. With the climax, it becomes an 8/5. And how this works is you can use the Hinako, give one of these a buff, make it a 10/5. This swings and it more than likely is going to reverse. Then it can give an additional 2,000 power to another card, maybe another copy of itself, and just kind of go down the line. Typically, if you have like 2 of these in a you do all of your stuff, and one of them is just going to just punch something in the face, reverse, you get your combo, pass it to the other Tsugumi, repeat process all the way to the and the is also just as big. So it is really good. For that, I just hate that the climax is the everything, the split 2k and a soul, as opposed to the Mortis. If I could have got my hands on that, would have been much better because it would give everyone would get 1k1, off of the gold bar and everything. It'd just be better stat distribution, but that's whatever. 3 copies of Student Council President Na. Where did I get Stoodle from? I don't know. It's a 1000 backup, but when you use this card's backup, you may choose a card on your level area and a green card in your waiting room and exchange them. So you can do this effect during your opponent's turn. You get to do the level swap shenanigans. The gets big. The Hinako goes off. It also corrects this particular thing at level 3. Where if you use the Hinako's effect to put a climax into the level zone, to give this a buff, you can then use the backup to swap that climax back out so that you don't have a climax stuck in your stock, because it says choose a card, so you can put the climaxes out and not have you could just give it the buff for the turn, but then immediately get it out. Just make certain that you don't have that in play anymore. So this is a really cool backup because of that, and I like the interaction with that. And there's one other card that involves like cards going to level, and that'll be in a little bit here. It'll be the last level 0 actually. All right, so level 0 is we're going to kind of blitz through this. Invincible Hero Kokoro is a 0/0/2k. If she's in the middle position of your center stage, she gets +1 soul, and she's a drop searcher. On play, pay 1, pitch 1, search for a music. 2 copies of Evening Memory Ran Mitake. She is a level 0 lower clock bomb, but also has an alarm effect. If she's on top of your clock at the beginning of your climax phase, give a character twin drive. So just neat little extra thing. And whether I'm trying to proc gold bars or an extra double crit or whatever, because that actually won me a game at the tournament, which is hilarious. Neat little extra effect to give there. 4 copies of Gentle Stare Yuri, one of the glitter green girls, and she's just a clean cut. She's a 2500 on reverse of the battle opponent. Choose one of your other green characters specifically. Rest it, move it to an open position of your backstage. She came in a couple times, but for the most part, she's just kind of a push for damage type thing. 2 copies of A Daughter's Cooking Masking. This is basically just the climax swapper of the deck, but also has an effect on play. Choose one of your opponent's level 0 or lower characters and in their center stage and bounce it back to their hand. I wish you could bounce back row with that, but it'd be whatever. And then climax swap, on play, pay 1, pitch a climax, salvage back 1. 2 copies of Swimming Trio Himari Uehara. We're going to come back to this card again in a little bit here. just to give a comparison for the other Nanana, is a 0015. When a climax is placed in your climax area, you can bounce this back to your hand to give a character 2k. And if this is the top card of your clock, it's like 11 o'clock at night and I'm recording this. If this is the top card of your clock and the number of music characters you have is 4 or more at the beginning of your climax phase, you may choose a character in your waiting room, add it to your hand, then choose a card in your hand and put it into your waiting room. So basically you get to salvage something back and then discard. So understandable too if you have extra discards for like gold bars getting stuck in hand. Really cool there. But we will come back to this because there is a neat little thing that I do want to point out. There's some anti-synergy in the deck, if that makes sense, and we'll explain it in a second here. Sunset Memory Mocha Alba is a 0015. On play, top check. If it's a music character, add a hand, discard a card, so you get to filter a little bit. And Alarm, if this is on top of your clock, and if you have 3 or more music characters at the beginning of your climax phase, choose a character, give it 2k power. So a little bit extra, once again, a little bit extra buffing and whatnot between a couple different cards to make certain that you get your on reverses with the Sugumi, or even on reverses with the Ri. Like, you get stuff big, like you're gonna get your on reverses, it doesn't really matter. Lastly, we have Glitter Green Nanana Wanabe. It's a 001000. When a card named Our Stage is placed on your climax area, if your level is 3 or higher, put up to 1 card from the top of your deck into your stock. All of your characters get 500 power to end a turn. The blind stock doesn't matter because you're basically immediately paying it out with the climax combo for the Yuri. So it just gives you 1 stock that you can just pay for free. It doesn't even matter. Then, up to 1 time per turn, yours or your opponent's, mind you, when your card is placed on the level area, you can pay 1 stock. If you do, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 of the Glitter Green Girls. Either add Yuri, Nanana, Ri, or Hinako. Reveal them, pick 1, add it to your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. So, as you can tell, this only grabs Glitter Green cards. But we have a lot of Afterglow. So there is the little bit of anti-synergy where this can whiff, and it did whiff like once or twice during the event. But hey, that's whatever. But as long as you like think that you have enough cards in deck that you can just use this effect, you can still get some advantage off of it. It was much better when it was the mono glitter green deck because you basically just never whiffed. It was kind of whatever. So like I said, there's a little bit of anti-synergy. Typically your back row setup would be a copy of this Hinako and a copy of this Nanana. So that just every turn you're tapping both, doing the level swap, giving buffs and everything, and then using her effect to try to generate more hand advantage. But because that can whiff, I wanted a little bit of a backup. So what I did was I included this Himari where, because I can put this in the backstage, use it, tap it for the Hinako, and then when I play a climax, I can bounce it back to hand to give an extra buff. I just figured that was a good little bit of extra little synergy. And my field, like none of my cards really cared about how much I had backstage. So there wasn't really a problem with like nothing was going to like lose its buff or whatever. So I included copies of that so that I could bounce that back when I did the Hinako combo. So that was that. 4 copies of Our Stage, the gold bar for the 4 different members of Glitter Green, and 4 copies of Let's Start a Band for the level 1 Sugumi. Once again, you could swap it out to the Mortis, and then you just have like an 8 bar. You could also swap out this Ron for the new Mortis early play level 3 that is just godly. But 1, it's expensive right now. 2, I couldn't get my hands on any copies prior to this. Hell, I couldn't even get any copies of this. I thought I had this, and I just couldn't pick up any before the event. So I just rocked 4 and 4 of each of the Yuri and the Ri's because I had healers. It's whatever. I was like, cool, I just don't have a level 2 game outside of the lock, just punching stuff in the face. But honestly, Ri and the Sugumis kind of carry through level 1 and 2. It doesn't really matter as long as you just keep that cycle going. But that is going to be it for the deck. Like I said, it's not a good deck. It's just a fun deck, and it's very old. You can see the age in it, obviously, with a lot of the effects of just how they're worded with certain things. Like I said, certain things had to get errated because before it was like, oh, 2 Yuris can just target each other, and then you just have like all the burn ones like stacking on them reversing. But it got changed, obviously. And this should be the errated version where she can't copy a Yuri. She can't target a Yuri. But yeah, that is going to be it. This is just a really fun deck. Thank you very much to myself for submitting this for this particular Community Fridays. If you want to submit your own Community Fridays builds, by all means, feel free to join the Discord. There are 2 different channels in there. There is the Community Fridays tab, but also just a decklist submissions tab if you just want to post in either one. If I see it and I like it, I'll pick from either. Doesn't matter. But thank y'all very much once again. Y'all stay safe and remember to stay based.